Mr. Gary Curtin, I got here.
Yeah,
He hails from New South Wales. Is that working okay there? Yep.
yeah, I've got
Yep.
it now, dude. Yep.
Yeah. And old Gazza, he's had a colourful life, haven't you, Gaz?
Oh, too bloody right, mate. Yeah.
He's
Say the least. Yeah.
yeah, he's got some good story. He comes out of Villawood, is that correct, Gaz?
Yeah, that's correct, Dean. Yep. Lovely old Villawood,
Yeah, all
Fibro
right.
City.
Yeah, all right, mate. Well, give us a little bit of a rundown when you were a kid around there, and how was it for you around that area, and living with your parents, and how was your upbringing down there, mate?
Well, I had two older brothers, one 6-year-old Mick, 4-year-old Peg. His nickname was Peg. His real name was Greg. He had a broken leg, and he got the nickname Jake the Peg. And trust me, Dean, and he's passed away since, but I never ever called him Greg. He's always Peg to me.
Yeah.
Now they were brothers. They were brothers from my mother's first marriage, so they're only my half brothers.
Okay.
And then me mum met me dad and had me and a sister who's 1 year younger than me, and we all moved up and lived in Villawood. Now, Villawood's not a bad place. We had a lot of friends. We had a lot of people in our neighbourhood, like heaps of us. Like, for example, the bloke behind me had 10 in their family. 2 doors up, they had 8. Across the road was another 8. There was a lot of people in this neighbourhood. So
Did you enjoy the area, mate?
Yeah, mate, I did. I didn't know anything better. We had fun. We used to run amok a lot. We liked the thrill of a chase. The old throw the eggs at the cars and get the chase going. And me being pretty quick, I didn't mind it because I knew I was never going to be the first one caught. So
Yeah,
I was always interested in the thrill, So,
yeah.
but yeah. But
That's the sad thing, isn't it, about the thrill? Like it appears people like ourselves from back in the day did enjoy the thrill. But unfortunately, that thrill got a little bit serious, as life went on.
Yes, it did. Yes, and you never expected it to get that serious when you were that young. You just, you just wake up one day and go, "What the fuck?" What how did I get here? Type of thing. Where'd this come from? But the old man he was a drunk. He was drunk. He'd come home nearly every night and bash the old lady, and he wouldn't so much bash her every night, but he'd abuse the fuck out of her all the time. And we lived in fear, absolute fear. I mean, that scared the old man. Like, we'd all be at home having fun and carrying on like we all would do. And then all of a sudden the old man would drive in the driveway. And every single night the bloke was that drunk. I don't know how he got home. He'd hit the letterbox. That's how we knew he was home. Bang, hit the letterbox. And sometimes he's that drunk, I'd have to go out there and turn the car off because he'd fall asleep in the car. Well, I'm surprised how he even got home. So we lived in fear. So as soon as he drove in that driveway, the mood changed. We're just so fucking frightened. It weren't funny. And my very first experience of fear was, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years of age. And the old man, he was carrying on, and he had the old lady, and I just remember a lot of screaming. And me and my sister came out, and here he is. He's uppercutting her. He's giving it like he's giving her a belting like a bloke would give another bloke, Yeah. And all she said was just run, and we ran out the door. And then I remember getting about 100, 200 yards out, and I'm going, fuck, I'm scared of the dark. What am I doing here? Get me home, And eventually, sometimes the old lady was able to get out. He'd go to the toilet or fall asleep, and bang, she'd get the car out. If she didn't get the car out, we'd all just walk around the streets and carry on like this. But it was a thing that you never told your mates. You kept it to yourself, type of thing. It was a bit of a shame, You didn't want to go and say your old man belted your old lady every night,
Well,
so you kept that to yourself.
That was the problem with growing up around those areas where you had to stand up for yourself and be strong and have a bit of go in you. It was hard to show that kind of fear. It was hard to show that weakness, mate. Like we were kind of in our own jail with that stuff.
Basically, yes. Yeah, you were. Yeah, you're trapped in your own brain. You can't communicate to anybody else. No. I found out years later a couple of other blokes had the same situation, but they never said anything either. So at the time, but I still remember the police.
Do you think do you think, Gary, that had an effect on you where it led with you during your life? Like, I know you've been down some pretty crazy roads. Do you think that went with you where you couldn't talk about things, and you ended up in situations where it was very closed off, and it was jail, and we'll get into that later, but do you think that went with you in your life?
Yeah, yep. At the time, I didn't think so. It's only in hindsight now I realise a lot of my problems stemmed from that, came from that situation. You don't seem to think about it too much. But as I say, the cops would come around every now and again. I still remember this one time, I was now maybe 10 or something, the next door neighbour, we never had a telephone. And I think there's only one person in our street that had a telephone, and they rang the police. And I still remember the cops coming, and they were out the front yard, and the old lady was saying she had blood coming out of her, and fat lip, black eyes, a whole lot. And the cops said, "Oh, we can't do anything, mate. It's a marriage situation." So it was like the old lady was left on her own. The police wouldn't get involved. So, but yeah, that carried on for years. And then when I was about 16,
if only women knew today how hard those women done it back there. My mother experienced the same thing. My mother used to talk to me about going to Glebe police station when the old man used to put left hooks and break a jaw and give her a kicking, and the coppers would say to her, "Go home, Jude.
Yeah,
we can't deal with this. That's between you and your husband."
That's right. Yeah, there was nothing, and I found at a very early age that the police ain't going to come down and help you, mum. Like it ain't going to happen. Terrible situation. Until the one point I was about 16, and I come home from footy training, and the door was wide open. The old man, he's there snoring away on the lounge, which was the great thing. I just love it when he'd go to fucking sleep, bang, you could have a bit of peace. And nobody was home. It was about 7, 8 o'clock at night. I thought, my first thing I thought, really, I can watch fucking any TV channel I can watch, He'd wake up, he'd hear click, 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 say, "Hey, I've been watching that." You ain't been watching nothing, you fuckwit, And I remember Steve always drinking too. He'd go, "Oh, well, what were you watching, Dad?" And we go, it was only like 3 or 4 channels back then. He'd go, click, click, click. "No, not that one. Click, click." We'd get back to the original one that we were watching. He'd say, "Yeah, that's the one." So yeah, beauty, we got him. But come home, and next thing you know, there's a knock on the door, and he's these two constable policemen. Actually, they wanted to speak to the old man. So I walked in and said, "Hey, Dad, the fucking cops are here." Well, he's woke up, and I've never seen a more angrier look than this, because he wasn't looking at me; he was looking over my shoulder. And unbeknownst to me, these 2 coppers, they'd followed me in. Well, he stood up, mate. He finger pointed them out the fucking door, and I could not believe that. I think, fuck, how come they didn't respond? They didn't. And they said nothing they could do. But that's when the old man, he said, "That's it." He said, "I'm out of here." He said, "You've given me up to the cops," because he's an old gangster he'd be our main boy himself. So he'd known a bit of trouble. And so he said, "No, that's it. You gave me up. I'm going. That's it." And I still remember the old lady going, "Fuck, if that was the case, we gave him up years ago." Years ago. But in the meantime, no, as friends-wise, we used to hang down this bottom shop, and any of my mates would be watching this. They'll get a kick out of this. It was a local milk bar, pool table, jukebox, pinball machines, and we basically spend our childhood there, and the shopkeeper down there. And then there was another shop up the road. This is a bay away. And it was a chemist there. And the chemist owner, his name was Morris. And he came out to us blokes, and he's told us all about this cough medicine, how we get you stoned. And I remember being a bit too young. I thought, no, I'm not getting it, because I remember reading it said 5 mils. And he's telling us to have 50 mils. I'm going, "He's all going to overdose. These are idiots." Yeah. Until one of my best mates that I trusted, he said, "Trust me, it's good. I'm telling you, you'll go." We used to call it buzzing, because it was like you're fucking buzzing somehow. And I still remember 15, I had that cough medicine, and that was it. Any family troubles, anything like that, just all went away. Like it was like had this peace sort of thing. And and then we became a regular thing. We'd have what we'd call bot night, which was having a bottle of cough medicine on a Wednesday. We're all going to local snooker hall. And this went on right through till I got older, until the government got onto it and put some type of shit in it to make you sick, that none of us could have it anymore. But there was one place up at the cross, McLean Street Chemist there, across the road.
I remember it. I used to get the cough medicine up there too. Yeah, McLean Street.
His name was Maurice.
You could buy syringes from there too.
Yeah. We're trying to get a fit back them days. Jesus Christ, they'll fucking rare as hen's teeth too. Try to get a fit.
The hospitals were good.
Yeah. I always used to go to the vets, get them from the vets. So, we used to go up there, and he used to make his own mixture called Protolixin.
Yeah.
But we'd get that on the sly, you know.
Yeah.
But this Morris, he got us all addicted to this cough medicine. And we're like, well, the beauty of being addicted to cough medicine was cheap, so you didn't have to do any crime or anything like that to get it fixed, you know, to get a hit. And then it went from $1.50 to $10, you know, like he started to. This is where he's getting his money from, you know. But
did you give the lighter fluid a run?
Gave that a belt. Yeah, I gave everything a belt. To be truthful, Don, I think I've given everything a belt. And still to this day, the best fucking drug I've ever had in the way of feeling good was the cough medicine. Maybe because it's my first one or whatever, but I've never experienced anything like it.
Yeah.
But as I say, and then but now the old man, he's gone. So life's kind of back to normal. I got a job, apprentice spray painter. Fucking absolutely hated it. You'd leave in the dark, and you come home in the dark. And being the apprentice, you got to do all the shit jobs until the boss came down one day with the indenture papers. And I said, "What are these?" He said, "Oh, you got to take them home and get your parents to sign it. And basically, it means I own you for 4 years." Well, I never went back to work.
Yeah.
So it was fucking that.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting a job in a foundry, which was good money, getting about $180 a week, which is big money for, like, I wasn't even 17 then. And then, this is a bit of a coincidental story. I ended up getting a job. I was only 17. I wasn't even 18 yet. And I got a job at the Sundowner Hotel.
Oh, down the Punch Bowl.
That's the one. Yeah.
On the corner there.
Yeah, because the shopkeeper we used to hang around, his name was John. We used to call it John's.
Yeah.
And I'll meet you down at John's. It was the meeting place.
Yeah.
Good
had bands down there.
Oh, well, this is the beauty, I'll tell you. It's so he had a mate, he had one eye, and he was a barman, at the Sundowner Hotel. So we decided we'll go there and have a few drinks and all that. And the bloke that was running the place, his name was Bill Vandenberg. I don't know if you know about him.
Yeah, I have, yep.
Yeah. And he said, "Do you want a job, young fella?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've never done a barman in my life." He said, "No worries, I'll teach you." And he showed me the ropes and blah, blah, blah. And the best part of it is when we'd knock off at the end of 3 o'clock in the morning, we'd all go out to the pool tables, play pool, fucking get wine, rotten drunk, end up the cross, up to these fucking seedy fucking backyard clubs up there that they had, and carrying on. And that didn't last too long, I don't think. But the beauty of that was I was getting paid to go and see all the fucking top bands. Radio, Midnight Oil, Cold Chisel, NXS, you know. And not only that, my job was to go back and give the band their drink orders.
Okay.
Yes, and I won't mention the band, but a couple of them there would be sharing joints.
Yeah.
With this.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to have to wear a bow tie.
Yeah.
But I'd make the excuse, look, I've got to go and pick the glasses up. I'd take the bow tie off and end up in the middle, like me dancing around and picking up Sheilas and carrying on. And I'm getting paid for all this. You don't even think about it at the time how lucky we were, you know.
So you got into the heroin, didn't you?
Yes, mate. Yes.
What was the progression with your drug taking?
Okay. Well, the cough medicine I got fully addicted to. I mean, like every day, twice a day sometimes. Then they put that shit in it to make you sick, and then it became that hard. The only place in Sydney to get it was at McLean Street Chemist, and that stopped. So then one of my mates got onto some speed, which introduced us to the needle. So we got into the speed. But I found the speed, it kind of it was too hectic for me. I was going, you end up going off your fucking head. And then one time another bloke went around to get some speed. He says, "I've got no speed, I've got some heroin." So I said, "Oh, yeah, we heard about this." And I thought it'd be cool, fucking a bit of heroin. It's about age 19, I suppose. I was a bit of a late bloomer when it came to the drugs. And so I had that first shot, and like everything I do, it don't take long. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to heroin. But I was lucky. I had a few assets, and I had about 14,000 in the bank. So I was a pretty good worker. I was always a good worker, and so it didn't take long before I liquidated all my assets and managed to go through all my savings, and then came the crime. And you start off with knocking off someone's lawnmower.
Yeah.
And then it was break into their house and steal their jewelry. And then it went and just progresses to you can't go any higher type of thing.
Yeah.
You know? Thank fuck I never got caught for any of the things I did, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky I got caught for what I did get caught. It's like jail kind of saved my life in a sense.
Yeah.
When I first got pinched. But yeah. So
and did you when you had the heroin straight away, you loved it? It was a great high. You really enjoyed it. What did you like about it?
The numbness of feelings. It's like any feelings, any bad feelings, they were gone. And then when you get addicted to it, you crook and you just want to get it to feel normal again. And that was the worst part about it. Fucking the hanging out part, because that's when you start doing crazy things, you know. And I remember you went to rehabs, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to the rehabs. I went to I think Wisteria House, Parramatta there 3 times. Another one in Riverwood. I'm not real sure the name. It was D26 or something like that. So I went there. It didn't last there long. Went to Westmount.
What did you think of rehab?
Well, I never gave it enough time. I wasn't interested in what they were selling.
What did you think? What did you think about what they were selling?
I thought it was correct. I thought it was all correct, but my brain was still thinking heroin. I've got to get a shot. I went in the wrong frame of mind. You know, like I just was basically, I was scared of going to jail, and I thought we're going to rehab because I had charges now, shoplifting charges, this charge, self-administration. I had 3 self-administration charges. Ended up getting 6 months for 2 of them, 6 months each, like just for self-administration. You think back then, you're a troubled person, and then instead they lock you in jail, instead of helping.
And what were they selling to you, Gary, at the rehab?
A better life, to get off the travelator of drugs and so on and so on. But as I say, my brain, I didn't care. All I was thinking about was heroin.
So there was nothing they were selling to you at that point in stage in your life that you were capable of buying?
No, not one single thing actually.
Do you think looking back on it, maybe there could have been something you would have bought?
Definitely now.
What would that have been if they would have tried to sell you that, if they would have tried to offer you that, whatever that was?
Normality, I think.
Okay.
Normality, which coming far back as watching the old man bash the old lady, I didn't know what normality was. So
yeah,
it was hard to sell something to me that I'd never seen.
Gotcha.
So very, very hard. But being in rehab to me, it was kind of more gateway to crime in a sense, because I still remember this one time I was at Westmount, and I was maybe 3 days, and they used to take all your gear off and give you pajamas. So you'd be in the pajamas down at the hanging out house, And after about a day, I was complaining, get me out of here, I'm out of here, fucking, I don't care, I want to go. Anyway, eventually they relinquished, and they said, yeah, you can go. And they were looking for me gear, and they couldn't find me bag with all my clothes in it. And I said, I don't give a fuck, just get me out of here. So they drove me up to Katoomba in my pajamas. I've got no money, I've got no nothing. I get on the train at Katoomba. This is Saturday morning. I caught the train to Parramatta, I reckon around 10, 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. Chocolate box full of people shopping. I gets out, I walks along Church Street in my pajamas, and I walk past the old school bottle shop that come off a pub. I thought, maybe the till might be there. So I jumped over the counter. I couldn't get the fucking till open, but what's next to it is a bottle of scotch. I'm thinking, I'll take anything, give me something so I'm not fucking feeling crook. So I'm fucking jumped back home and I'm bringing this bottle of scotch. Walking up home, and I walked in the Bing Lee. Now, Bing Lee, they had a TV on one of them stands that got wheels on it. Well, I just blatantly walked in this fucking Bing Lee and walked out and pushed it up the road. And I walked this thing all the way up through Church Street, peak hour traffic, like people shopping. No one's, I'm swigging on this bottle of scotch as I'm doing it. Goes up to the taxi rank. I'm lined up in the taxi rank. People are looking at me going, what the fuck, you know? And the bloke gets me in. He helps me put the TV in the back of the car and the stand. And he says, yeah, take me to Cabramatta. And I had a bloke at Cabramatta there who he bought a lot of my stuff. He's one of my best fences. Any guy he bought off me. And I was just praying to God he'd be there. So I remember we got in the taxi and about halfway, and I thought I better feel this taxi driver out because he's looking at me. I'm in my pajamas, swigging on this scotch. There's no obvious means of income or any money. So I thought I better feel this bloke out. If he's going to take me to the cop shop, I better jump out the lights or something, you know. And so I said, mate, you're mostly curious what's going on here. He says, yeah, I'm a little bit curious. I said, I have to tell you straight, mate, I've got no money, but you're going to get money. I've got money for you when we get there. He said, well, if you don't, I'm taking you straight to the police station. So I thought, oh, well, I filled him out good enough that he's going to take me straight to this place and not the cop shop first. And I gets there and I get to the old coffee shop there, Yugoslav fella. And I jumps out and he was there, thank God. I said, hey, mate, I said, you got to pay this taxi for me. I've got something for House TV, one of the best TVs in the world, you know, talk it up. And he said, yeah, no worries. So he's gone out and paid the taxi and I gave him the keys to his car and I took the television around to his car. And the funny thing was, as I was just getting to his car, the wheel of this fucking car hit a rock and the TV's come off the rock.
Oh, no.
This square TV now is like this. So I put it back on the stand and straightened it up.
Oh, no.
The next day he said, hey, boy, you're not that bloody TV you'll give me. It don't fucking work, mate. It's shit. I said, don't worry, I'll get a couple more for you. Don't you worry, you know. But yeah, fucking crazy shit that you do. That's just silliness, you know. Absolutely, you know.
So how old was you, Gaz, when you eventually got pinched? Your luck did run out. You ended up in court. And what happened, mate? What did you get pinched for? And where did you go in prison?
Okay, it was a Friday. I was in a stolen HR, and it was more of a communal Cabramatta car. It was a car that anyone could use or wanted to use, didn't care. So I was in this car, broke into a house, grabbed the video, and I'm back in the car now. I'm pretty sure I was off my head on the Serapaks too, because I was taking them because they'll give me bravado. Or when I was taking Serapaks,
fearless on them.
Yeah, I was doing things that didn't, you know, you'd blow your head away, you know.
Yeah.
And I got in the car, and I was just about to start the car, and around the corner, someone's obviously seen me and give me up. Around the cop car come in, I tried to give him a chase in the HR 179. You know, I ain't going far. Bang, they ran me off the road. And that's I still remember my cigarettes on the dashboard, and the cigarettes had me heroin in it in the back of the alfoil. And before I knew it, these cops had jumped out of the car on the bonnet like Starsky and fucking Hutch. Fucking gun pointed right at my head. I mean, like 6 feet, you know, away. And I went to reach for my heroin. He's going, hey. I'm thinking, geez, you're lucky you weren't fucking trigger happy. I'd been a dead man. Anyway, they hog-tied me, threw me in the back of the bull wagon, purposely went around every corner 100 miles an hour. So I'm just rolling around this fucking bull wagon and taken back to Fairfield police cells. Bail refused, but no, that's right, because there was no thing. I had to go to Parramatta court Saturday morning, bails court, Parramatta. And in my brain, because I've been pinched half a dozen times already for shoplifting charges, this and that, always got bail, I'm thinking this is just another bullshit thing until I get bail again, you know. And then I went to see the magistrate or whoever it was at Parramatta and said, yeah, no, bail refused, bang, you're going to Parramatta jail. And that's when it fucking hit me and went, what the fuck? I'm going to jail, you know. You hear all them fucking horrible stories, as you know.
How old was you?
I was 22. I'd managed to get through that far. But I was glad I was 22 because I was old enough to carry myself. If I was younger, it might have been worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I ended up at Parramatta there, and we get there about 3 o'clock, giving ourselves lucky. I was, they put us out 3. We were 3 in a cell back then. And it was one time, actually, in the bail, it was 4 out one time. But, yeah, anyway, they locked us up. But I did know that I had a couple of mates that were in Parramatta jail. But I was still thinking heroin. I was I didn't have any fear or anything like that. It was more like I was hanging out. I just wanted to get drugs. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all in my head. So they let us out in the morning, and lo and behold, here's my best mate from school, Mort. How are you, Mort? And then the other best mate, Had. There you going, Had? Like,
Yeah.
From there, I had no fear. I had no worries. These two blokes were pretty well known, carried themselves well, and I was home and nose from there. But I still think of heroin the whole fucking time. And I remember I had to go back to court, I think 2 weeks later.
Did you get any heroin in there?
Yes, I did. Yes. God love it. My mum come in because the bloke said, yeah, if you can get $50, we can get you a shot. And my mum come in and I said, Mum, can you give me $50? And she was like, panicking. She gave me $50 and I got a shot. But that was the only time.
What was the heroin like?
Pretty shit. It'd been jumped on that many times, Dean. I don't know if there was any heroin left in it,
Yeah.
But it was enough to take the edge off. I remember that. But,
yeah.
Then 2 weeks later, I went back to Fairfield and then locked up in the cells there for 3 days. For some reason, Parramatta was full, and now I'm off to the MRC. And I was lucky. I was 2 out with a bloke I was in the cells with, so I've got to know him over the last 3 days, and it seemed like a good bloke. So I've gone, but I'm thinking, here I go again. I'm starting at a new prison. Do I know anyone here? No, I don't. Not that I knew of. And that morning we come out and looks over, and bang. Very sick-looking bloke. It's my mate Johnny. He'd been shot by the police about 3 months earlier doing an armed robbery. He was my best mate. And he was the one who started us all on heroin. He was like the heroin dealer and all that. And he fell in bad times and ended up to do armed robberies himself. And his story was he was doing an armed robbery at Yagoona, and 2 young constable police were apparently sent out to get a food order for the rest of the mob back at the police station. Seen him in the proceeds of knocking over a shop. And a lot of stories went around what had happened, but he told me from his horse's mouth. I ended up being 2 out with him for 3 months, a couple of months later. And he told me, he said I was running. He did have a gun, but he never had any bullets in the gun, because he always told me, because I'd done a couple of jobs with him, and he always said, never put a bullet in the gun just in case you shoot someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But he said he was running. He said he was going straight for the fence. Now, where I grew up, I reckon if fence jumping was in the Olympics, we had the gold medal team in my village. And he said he reached the fence. This is from his name now. He said, I reached the fence. I went to pull myself up. He said, just prior to getting to the fence, he thought he'd flicked up a stone and hit him in the arse.
Right.
Didn't think anything of it. Went to jump the fence, couldn't pull himself up. He wondered why. The cops had got him, tackled him, dragged him back to the police car. Still to this point, he didn't realise he'd been shot. And they threw him on the bonnet of the police car, handcuffed him, lifted him up, and here was this pool of blood. And that's when they realised they'd shot him. Fucking missed him and went straight through his arse. He showed me the hole. Missed his backbone by about that much and came out through his stomach. And he said, I said, what's it like? He says, just imagine a red hot poker that's been in a fireplace. He said, shove that straight through. He said, it was like that. Fucking must be incredible. He said. So now I've seen.
How long did you do for that lagging, mate?
Well, I got I think it was 24 with a 10 for that. And I had other charges, and they all ended up running concurrent. I had that many shoplifting charges going on that I kept getting bail for, that I ended up getting them all called in, and I was getting them all concurrent. But the longest one was 10 months, and that was for the car steal for the and the breaking in of the original one.
Yeah.
From the MRC, I've gone to court again at Bankstown. Now I don't even know what I've got. That many charges going. I don't even know what the fuck I'm even fronting for. It was over a shoplifting charge, I think, or something like that. I can't remember. And I've got like 30 days. So I had to go to the warrant yard. So now I've gone back to the CIP. I'm in that warrant yard there where it's caged off.
Yeah.
And I was there for about 2 weeks. And then from there, sent back to Parramatta. And on the bus was my mate John, the one who'd been shot. So he gets to Parramatta, and I end up being 2 out with him. And he had one of them colostomy bags that he had to clean out every morning. you never smelled anything like this. Fuck, it stank.
Yeah.
But that's when I started feeling a bit more fitter, a bit more, the drugs have gone out of my system by now. I'm feeling a bit more healthier. I started playing touch football and wall squash. But I also knew being a para that to get into the best route would be to get into the kitchen.
Mm.
So it didn't take me long to put my name down for the kitchen.
Was there any experiences in jail that was not a nice experience for you? Well, any scary situations or any situations where you had to step up to the plate or you got through okay? Or
I was lucky, Dean. I was lucky. I'd seen a lot of blokes. You see a lot of blokes get smacked in the mouth.
Yep.
You see a lot of fights. You see a lot of, especially it's always to do with something that's happening on the outside, mostly.
Yeah.
They'd meet each other and bang, it was on.
Yeah.
No, I was lucky. For some reason, I had some good cellmates. I had no one ever tried anything on me. And by the way, I'm only 5'5" too. When I first got pinched, I reckon I was 5'5" and about 55 kilos because I hadn't been eating. I'd been homeless. I'd been living on the streets. See, so I was when I first got pinched, I was glad. I was like, fuck, thank fuck. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry because being a heroin addict is a very stressful fucking thing.
Very much so.
Just this constant, get the shot, have a half-hour break, and work out where you're going to get your next earn from. And this just goes on for years. And
it's a relief 9 times out of 10 when you get pinched.
Yeah. It's like you can take a breath. You go, thank fuck, I'm not looking over my shoulder anymore. I'm not.
I used to feel the same way.
Yeah. And I look now, it kind of saved me life. And I was glad I only got pinched for the car still, because some of the things I was doing, I would have been doing some big time for, that I never got caught for. Thank fuck.
Same here. Yeah.
But,
I'm very similar to you. There's a lot of stuff I never got pinched for. I was very, very, very fortunate. I only did drunk slagans compared to the blokes I used to run around with, like 2 years, 3 years. The longest lag I ever got was 5 years, But the blokes I used to run with, they were doing 20, 10, big lags.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate. But I did a lot of them.
Yeah.
So they did add up,
Yeah, that does add up. And jail is so even though I got through without having any dramas in the way of sexual abuse or fights or anything like that, I was able to always talk my way out of it. Being a little fella, I'm not a threat to you. Exactly. And I was befriended straight away because I'm not a threat. And then
what I find interesting, Gary, is that looking back on it now, in retrospect, myself and other people that I talk to, everyone uses a coping mechanism to survive in there,
Yeah.
I used to use a coping mechanism where I'd become really calm. In bad situations, and what's going to happen is going to happen. If I'm going to die, whatever, it's going to happen.
Yes. Yes.
But other people, little fella, I'm no threat to you. There's other people that are good talkers. Everyone's
got their own way of getting through it.
But you do need a way to survive in there,
Yeah. And like you just said there, I still remember when I first got pinched, and I took that deep breath and thought, well, now it's out of my hands. Exactly. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not in control of it. If someone wants to stab me, they're going to stab me. Someone's going to bash me, they're going to bash me.
That's right.
The sexual thing, I would have backed up there and I would have fucking went in hard and stopped that. Because I remember blokes used to think, when I got out, they'd say, "Oh, did you get fucked, mate? Did they fuck you?" Because you just assume that it's part of the thing, it's initiation or something, And I said, "Mate, would you let some bloke fuck you?" I said, "No." I said, "Well, there you go. It's that simple, You're not going to let the bloke fuck you, But that never happened.
And usually too, Gary, the people that get sexually abused, I'm not saying it doesn't happen to people, but sometimes also it's the vulnerable ones too, you know, like I'm not saying it hasn't happened to hard people. I know it has.
Yeah.
But they pick their marks too, you know.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of blokes in there, you know, and I've seen people that start out in jail very young, innocent, attractive. Guys have sexually abused them, and those guys have become real hard bastards.
Yes.
And violent.
Yes.
And squared up on them as they got older, or as they stayed in the system. These young, vulnerable kids that got taken advantage of become real hard and tough. So I've seen it turn too, you know.
Yeah. They can go, they can go either.
They go either way.
Yeah, they can get into depression and suicide path.
Yeah, I've seen that also.
The other survival path is I'm hard now and you can't fucking hurt me.
Yeah. I'm going to square up on you.
Yeah. I seen, this big bloke, he got stabbed by a bloke, little fella, and same thing, you know, he said, you know, same thing, situation. He said, fucking, he said, you never know where it's going to come from.
You don't.
Yeah. But so I ended up going well. I was playing fucking footy, and I was good. I was good football. I played football all my life. That was one of the best things too. Having played sport all your life, and growing up in a housing mission, you learn how to deal with people.
Yeah.
And you learn from your gut feeling how to work a bloke out, what type of bloke he was. You know what was this. You know what direction he was going, and so on. You just learn. You know, I mean, you learn the ability to communicate to different people on different levels. Like I could sit there and talk to a barrister lawyer on his level, and then go talk to a triple murderer and speak to him on his level. You know what I mean? I was able to communicate on any level. Yeah, so I ended up getting fit and strong, but then I worked out that the best rout's going to be in the kitchen. And it's funny, I was a fussy eater. And my biggest fear when I first went to jail wasn't the bashings, wasn't the sexual thing, was fuck, I'm not going to like this food. Strangely enough, that was my fear. But I'm not going to like this shit that they spit out. But as time went on, I found that Parramatta had the best fucking food out of all the jails. Everyone used to say that. So I got a job in the kitchen, started off in the sinks. I must have done pretty good then, but I was more interested in playing footy with my mates and playing wall squash and whatever was going on. So I didn't. How
did you go at squash? Did you play squash okay with the timber bats?
Too right, yes, mate. We'd have competitions. I was one of them blokes that once I got the feel of the place, and I'd walk around like as if I'd lived like it was my house. You know what I mean? I always walked down the middle of the thing. I never walked to the side. You know, and I owned where I was at. You know, and I'd be the bloke in the wing. Come on, we're getting the fucking footy team going. Come on, put your name down. We need your name. We've got a big game. You know, I was that bloke. But yeah, we had competition with wall squash. I was number 3 seed.
It's a good game, isn't it?
Oh, too right, mate. Keep you fit and strong. There was a bloke named Rudy. No one could beat him. He was number 1 seed. But number 2 seed was my mate John, the one who'd been shot and had a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
And I used to have to strap his colostomy bag around his stomach so I wouldn't flap around while he was playing. He was number 2 seed.
Yeah.
Even with this, you know, with a hole in his fucking gut. You know what I mean? Like, he's a beautiful bloke, this bloke, John, too. I've not seen him since. He ended up coming, they came in and got him, and he had to go to the MRP and have an operation to get this colostomy bag taken out, and that was the last I ever seen him.
Did he get it off, Gary?
Yeah, well, as I say, I didn't hear anything else of him, but a few years later, there was a story on the news about some prisoners at the MRP doing like a 24-hour marathon laps for a charity. Yeah. And he was there involved in that. That was last I seen. That would have been about 88, 90, something like that. Wasn't real sure. But so we gave an affectionate hug to each other because he was good. He's one of them blokes, Dean, when you first meet him, within 10 minutes, you feel like he's your best mate. He was one of them blokes, you know, very, very rare bloke. You know, one of them blokes. Yeah. Tough as too, but tough as. Don't worry about that. You know, he'd done a lot of job beforehand. He was an armed robber and all that. And he taught me the trade, to be truthful. And and as I say, I'd done a few jobs with him and kind of earned stripes with him. So with that, I got a big kick just from knowing him, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I gave him an affectionate hug, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to the MRP fine. I'm going to be able to shit out of my ass and all this shit." You know? I said, "See, Johnny, good luck. Good luck." But I've never been able to see him since. And since I've got on this Facebook, I've gone searching for blokes so I can remember their names and that. And I can't find him. I don't know. I'm assuming he might be dead. You know, I don't know these days because we forget how old we are, Dean.
For sure, mate.
And a lot of people say, you know, you worry about getting old. And I say, mate, it's a fucking privilege. A lot of our mates never got a chance to, you know.
Exactly.
So, and I live life and I'll tell you about that in a little bit later when I first come here to Harvey Bay. But I got that job in the kitchen, and before I knew it, but I loved the kitchen because when I first got the Parramatta, they all wear white. And there's 26 in the kitchen, but there's 6 permanent. The 6 permanent wear white. And my very first morning at muster, I was seeing a couple of blokes sitting outside the kitchen having a smoke and a coffee, not lining up for muster. And my first thought was, these blokes must be lifers or trustees or something, you know, because you've never been to jail. You only understand the jail is what you've seen in Hollywood and a few of the horrible stories you hear. So I thought, fucking, and they'll give an instantaneous respect. So I thought, getting in the kitchen, I'll get onto the rorts. I'll be able to wear the white. And Parramatta back then was a remand prison, so blokes were coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. So, and I thought, well, the first impression they're going to see me, this little fella sitting in white, sitting outside the kitchen, smoking a smoke and having a cup of coffee, they're going to be thinking, okay, he must be a crazy cunt or must be something. So I was given automatic respect without even knowing who I was, you know.
Yeah.
And I worked my way up to head sandwich maker, second in charge in the kitchen, head sandwich maker I was, because I got a work hold, because I was doing that in 10 months, I got a work hold. So I was able to stay there. Normally you'd have to be shipped back to the CIP and given a classification, sent out to a farm or whatever. But I got a work hold to stay in the kitchen.
So you got out. There. So you got out.
Yep.
And what happened? How old was you when you got out? And what happened from there?
Well, before I got out, silly enough, my mate was getting the Sarah packs in, doing stupid things again, and we decided we'd been sent from 1, 2, and 3 wing over to A, B, and C wing because them German cockroaches, they were right through that fucking place, like thousands of them, you know. So we went over there, and in between A and B wing was the old barber, and they had it all fenced off. But me and my mate, we climbed up on there, and on there you could see the wall, and he wanted to make a run and jump to the wall.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A 3-story drop, Tony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I backed out of that, but we made a plan that we're going to get a grappling hook, we're going to tie some sheets together, we're going to cut our ways out of ourselves, and we're going to sneak out and get onto this fucking thing in the middle of the night, throw the grappling hook, tie it off, and fucking Mission Impossible shit, you know?
Yeah.
And I never really, we got a hold of hacksaw, and I started cutting myself. You know, and I've done a fair fucking good job cutting through this thing. And this one night, just to keep the noise down, I had my music going, AC/DC blaring, cutting away, and I still remember singing Jailbreak, the whole thing, off me on the Sarah packs. My cellmate's asleep, he's out because we were on the jail brew as well. We were pretty good drunk as well. So I sat down, it was a Wednesday, and I sat down, the Amco Cup started. I'm a mad Manly supporter, Manly was playing Parramatta. I set myself up with a banana Breville. I'm sitting down in my fucking thing, and the funny thing was, when we'd done the move from the other one, that part of the jar to the other jar, me and my cellmate had knocked off the screws, fucking recliner chair. Right. We'd put it in himself. So I'm sitting on this recliner. Heaven knows how we even got it in there. Well, we got it. The next thing, the doors open, it was a fucking MEU. Next thing you know, they're bashing me. My poor cellmate, he's asleep, he's dragged out by his feet, he's getting bashed as well. He don't know what's going on. Strip search, chucked in the reception cells, and then next morning, Parramatta police came in, detectives, and I told my cellmate on the way up to Duffy's office, I said, mate, I'm going to take this. You know nothing, right? You absolutely know nothing. He said, sweet. I said, remember that, you know nothing. He said, so the detectives come in, and I said, mate, but you don't know nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I said, is he trying to stand over you? Is he standing? I said, mate, no one's standing over me, mate. I'm telling you, I did it, you know. So I got charged. Now, funny thing was, I never was given no charge sheet, no nothing. And I was actually charged with malicious damage, nothing else, because that's what I damaged the thing. And I remember Duffy, he was perplexed about me doing this, but the first thing he says, how the fuck did you get that recliner in your cell? He won't worry about it. He is confused. How the hell did you get a fucking recliner in your cell? And so next thing you know, we're chucking the bull rag and Shanghai he went, because he was still on remand, he got sent to MRC. Because I was still doing my 10 months, I got sent to the CIP, then front yards. Have you ever been in them front yards?
I have, when I was a kid, yeah.
Ah, mate, well, my man used to race greyhounds. And it was just like a greyhound fucking kennel, basically. And the toilet was locked up. And like they'd lock in there and fuck, that was fucking horrible. Absolutely horrible. And but I was sentenced there for 14 days. But 14th day come and gone, I'm still there. And this went on to 23 days now, I'm still in there. And it wasn't that the screw that originally put me in there must have come off a holiday or something. He's walked past and I'm just hanging off the cages there, like, looking up like an idiot. He says, what the fuck are you still doing in here, Curtin? I said, mate, I don't know. I ain't fucking running the place, mate. I said, I've been telling you every day, get me out of here. Yeah. Well, he got me out. Well, the thing about that doing Segro is they got you in one wing there, which is the protection wing.
Yeah, I know.
And you're on the other side at the bottom looking up at 2 wing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, so that you can't see the protected prisoners, they get you out before they let the protected prisoners out, put you in your holding, fucking in your front yards. And then after all the prisoners were locked up again, that's when they come in. So you get to see nobody, absolutely nobody, You get to see the sweeper who gives you your food and the thing. But like, for example, you be coming out of your cell, blokes up a 2 wing, hey, you dog cunt. I'm going, fucking, I'm not a dog, mate, I'm not a dog. Because, back in the days, being a dog, it's a death word, Yeah. And anyway, so I finally got out there and he wanted to let me out the gate. They had the big metal fence there at 1 wing there to let straight out to the circle and the CIP. You want to take me out through there to 6 wing. And I'm going, mate, I'm not going out through that fucking gate because anyone's going to come out of this gate. Now, what are you going to fucking, before I even get to 6 wing, I'm going to be stabbed, you fuckwit,
Yeah.
And take me out off to the head sweeper of the protection prisoners back then. He even said, mate, he said, don't do it, you stupid cunt, So he ended up taking me back around. And I'd been there for 23 days. I was kind of now settled in. I thought, I'm happy here, I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm bored, but I'm fucking safe. Now I'm going to be put back into the fucking zoo, But luckily, as I say, Parramatta being a remand prison, a lot of the blokes at Parramatta at the time that it happened have now been sentenced and are at the CIP, as well as my best mate Mort and my best mate Had. So, and it got around and I was nicknamed.
So you finally got out of jail?
Yep.
And what happened? Did you get back on the heroin or what happened after that?
Yeah, straight on I got a job on the railways. My brother got me a job on the railways, a place called Trackfast. It's like where they'd send all stuff around Australia on the railways. And it didn't take long. First pay, straight down to Cabramatta, bang onto the gear. The bloke I was working with there was
So at first you got on the heroin because it numbed you. But now you're using it because you liked it.
Yes. Yeah.
So what happened to this numbness? Is that all gone now, or did that come out later in life, or?
Yeah, it didn't come out till about 10 years ago, which I'll get up to. Yeah. But I remember I was talking to you before about this. Before I got out there, I was sent to Goulburn after I got out of the front yards. I was sent to Goulburn. Middle of winter, freezing, 7 below every morning, kind of a place. Now that was it. Talk about blokes doing like here's me doing 24 with a 10, and as you know, on top of the cells, they got their names and their sentence, and you're walking along. You get allocated your cell, and you got to walk along. You 25 years plus 15 years plus BOP, as you know, BOP balance of parole, life plus BOP. 25 plus 15 plus BOP. Oh, fuck me, Dad. These blokes, I don't think I'm out of me league here. But yeah, I ended up coming back up for court. And that was the day I in the morning, I take you out to the cages at the MRC waiting for the escort buses.
Yeah.
And one by one, everyone's getting put in their allocated bus and off they go. There was one bus left, and I'm the only prisoner left. And I remember going to the screws. I said, "What the fuck's going on?" I said, "I've got a trial at Penrith." And I said, "Mate, we haven't got the paperwork for you here." And I said, "Yeah, but I've got to go." And I said, "Well, fuck, we got no one. The only bus to go is this bus here." And that was the bus for the Comancheros.
Gotcha.
I watched
the
it.
Massacre.
The Milpera Massacre. So they come up to me and they said, "Do you mind going in with the bikies?" I said, "I don't give a fuck. Don't worry me, you know." And they open up that cell door, and here's Jockey Ross at the back, Chewy next to him. I think his name was Terry, but he was a little fella, muscly fella. Another bloke called Bones, who I'd worked with in markets, luckily. And as soon as I open up that door, Jockey Ross yells out, he says, in that Scottish accent, he says, "No fucking way, boss. I've told you before. No cunt comes on this bus. This is our bus." He's going off, and the rest of them are going off too. And that's what I said. "Whoa." I said, "Mate," I just come up from Goulburn, blah, blah, blah. Fucking, and they said, "All right." And apparently they told me as I was going on the court to Penrith that I was the only one who's ever been on their bus. That was their bus.
Yeah.
And that's when we pulled up at Penrith there, and that's when Jockey Ross, he never said a word the whole trip. He gets up and looks out the little window, and old mate says, "Hey, is the circus out there?" Referring to the media and shit. And he said, "Yep." And he looked at me, he said, "Fuck, young fella," he says, "I don't know what you've done, but fuck, there's some media here, mate." And I'm thinking, it's got nothing to do with me, Jockey. But anyway, from then I got bail, and that's when I got back out and got onto the fucking on the drug.
So did you stay out? How long did you stay out for? Did you go back to jail, or you stayed out?
I stayed out for about 6 months, I think, around 6 months, a bit longer.
And you went back?
Yeah, but in the meantime,
and you got back out?
Yeah, but in the meantime, I got on the methadone. They got me on the liquid handcuffs.
Yeah.
So, which made the second lagging a lot easier in a sense. You know, you had something to look forward to every morning.
So when did you get some kind of balance in your life? Did you turn it around at all and you stopped going in? Did you end up finding your feet? Did you get a job? Did you change, or what happened to you?
Yeah, well, luckily because of the methadone, it stopped me when I got out. I was just solely relying on methadone. I didn't have to worry about heroin anymore. And
it helped you?
Yeah, it helped me because I didn't have to do any crime. Because that's the only problem about being a heroin addict is you got to get the money, which means you got to do the crime, the vicious circle.
Yeah.
I was able to stay out of the thing, and I got a job in the markets, which I'd been working the markets since I was 16 years of age. I started off as a barrow boy there. So I'd worked my way up all the way through. And I ended up working for a bloke called Ray Hall, where he had the market. He had the whole thing. He unloaded the trucks, and when the trucks get unloaded, they get taken to the stands, and they've got to be sorted out on the stands and so on like that. Well, I was his foreman. I was a foreman in a sea shed. So I've been working for him for about right up to about 2000. And then he retired and sold his business to one of his competitors. Well, a lot of blokes that the stands I stacked out, they didn't like him, and they said to me, "Why don't you start your own business and stack our stands out for us?" Well, I did that. So I thought, beauty. And I started out with 2 stands and a partner and one worker. And then I happened to know a bloke, and knew a bloke who was doing all the speed in the markets, because the markets is riddled with speed. Everyone's on the go. I mean, even millionaire bosses, they're all on the fucking go. And I got introduced to the speed again, but I never belted it this time. I used to just swallow it, wrap it up in the tellier paper and drop it like that. Well, with the ability to speed now, I've turned 2 stands into 13 stands, ranging from 13, from 1 worker to 13 workers, 2 forklifts, a rented forklift, a truck. I was living the dream. I'm thinking, hey, this is good, you know. And you make good money that fucking markets, I tell you. It's like a license to print money if you've got a job, if you've got a business down there. And but in the meantime, I'd got married. Actually, I got married at the MTC. So I went with my last lag, and I went to the MTC and got 6 months, and I got married there.
Where did you meet her?
I met her out on one of my times I was out. I met her. She was a 180 straighty from Fairfield.
Right.
I think she just fell in love with the bad boy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I married her. Yeah, 3 kids.
What was her name, mate?
Donna.
Donna.
Yeah,
And
lovely.
you had kids, yeah?
Yeah, she was a ranger.
Yeah.
She was a ranger too. Yeah.
She must have been a good sort.
I've never met a bad ranger, mate. Put it that way. And yeah, we fell head over heels, and I got pinched, and I still had other charges going on. I thought I was going to get 5 years and shit like that. So I got married, and I ended up getting out. So I got out, got the job in the markets, had 3 kids, pushed 3 kids out. And one of them was my son Alex. He's another ranger. He's got the big red beard. He's on there. And so then I started that business in 2000. At the same time I started my business, we broke up. We'd been growing apart. I don't want to say anything bad, things happen, bad breakup really. And so we separated.
But what happened to you? Like, what happened? Was you blew him? Was you fighting, or you struggled in the relationship, or?
Yeah, I think towards the end, I think we started hating each other.
Yeah.
Plus, I was doing 60 hours, 6 days a week in the markets. So I didn't have much time in the way of helping her and stuff like that, or doing anything like that. So we just grew apart, and we came to the conclusion that it was over. So I moved out, and I then got myself a flat in Maryland's, and that's when I got onto the Goey, and the Goey just turned me into Superman, and I'm running the markets now. And then I got a Maori girlfriend. She ended up working for me. Because whenever you needed extra workers, because the pub was open 24 hours a day up there, Flemington Market Hotel. And I'd send one of my blokes up there, go up there and see if some blokes want some work, a couple of hours work. And he got her, and she was a forklift driver as well. She was a tomboy, one of the best workers. She was better than half the blokes that was working for me. And well, I fell in love with her, and had 1 kid to her, and she was pregnant again. And we just moved to Seven Hills, and she was 9 months pregnant. And I had a 1-year-old son, and we had no furniture, only had a blow-up bed and a TV and a fridge. And we'd been fighting too. We hated each other as well. And so I was asleep, and she's come around, and he had the one phone. She come in and grabbed the mobile phone off me and said, I said, what are you doing? She goes, I'm ringing the ambulance. I'm having the baby. And I said, no, don't worry about it. I said, just grab your bag. They got the bag ready for hospital. So grab your bag, and I'll make a cup of coffee, and I'll drive you. I'll drive you to hospital. So I've gone in and put the kettle on. And as I come back out in the lounge room, bang, the water broke.
Oh.
The water broke. Now, this is, up to this point, I thought I'd experienced fear. I'd never experienced, this was true fear now. So I rang the ambulance. I said, hey, my girlfriend's having a fucking baby. You got to get in now. And I remember the lady on said, yeah, the ambulance is on the way. Just keep talking to me. Have a look down there and see if you can see the head. Oh, no head. And she's screaming. And for some reason, in all this confusion, I've just pushed the phone over there, and utter true fear hit me. Dean, I could not move. I've never experienced fear like this. It was like, bang. And then from that to unbelievable control. I was in control, and I just took control of the whole situation. Before you know it, bang, my little daughter, Taylor, out she comes. I'm picking her up under there. Cord's wrapped around the throat. Unwrapped the cord, like in the movies. She wasn't there was no cry yet. I slapped her on the bum. Boom. Bang, she started crying. Most beautiful sound I've ever heard in my life. Because I was scared. Like, I didn't want to lose any of them. I'm still attached to the umbilical cord. I put it up onto her chest. Straight away started suckling. Unbelievable. Most beautiful sight I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And all this time, remember earlier I put the kettle on? The whistle blew. That's how long it took. It only took the time to boil the kettle. I remember sitting outside on the front door, stepping a cup of coffee, and the ambulance people come up, and they're taking their time. I said, yeah, don't worry about rushing, mate. I said, she's already at it. Oh, they pop it in, they go. And so she's had that. And everything's going good, financial wise, this, that, except for our relationship still going on thing. And about 4 months later, I'm there on a Sunday morning to set everything up. And I get a fucking phone call from my girlfriend, the Maori. I'm on the phone, she goes, first thing I hear is, Donna's dead. I went, what? She hung herself.
Oh,
what?
shit.
And your son found her. Like, and he was 10 years old. Like, he up on me eye. And you know, you've seen the movies, people collapse. I collapsed. My fucking legs. I don't know what happened to me, Dean. And my brain, it just went to another place. I've never been.
For sure, mate. Yeah.
Deep depression or whatever it is. And I actually, that night, I cried. And I realised too, that was the first time in my life I'd ever cried.
Wow.
I properly cried, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. Because this is the person that you knew, you know what I mean? I married her in jail. You know, we've been through thick and thin together. We had 3 kids together, blah, blah, blah. So just fucking, now that sent me over the edge. Now, with that, I ended up getting custody of my 3 kids, and I sent them up here to Harvey Bay where my mum lived. And my Maori girl, my 2 other kids, she couldn't handle it. She just fucked off. She fucked off up the Mount Isa up here. Took the 2 kids, and I was incapable of stopping anything or doing anything. I was just, my head was gone. And so I ended up staying in Sydney and fucking getting back onto the drugs. First time I ever got onto that ice. I was into that ice, and fucking whatever I could take, I was taking. Eckies, I was getting into them bloody eckies. And then eventually, because I had a car, but I'd lost my license through to unpaid fines. So my car was unregistered and I was unlicensed. And after about 3 months of running amok down there, realising my kids were up here, I knew I had to get up here. I said, I've got to fucking drive. And I got in that car and I haven't got no headlights either. So I had to drive. I drove to Singleton till it got dark, and then I couldn't sleep in the car because my car was full of all the gear. So I couldn't even put my seat back. So I ended up sleeping in a cemetery there. Got out there and then caught drove up to Ballina, and it got dark again, got no headlights, got a hotel room. And then from there, all the way to Harvey Bay. But I had the cop follow me for about an hour. I'm unlicensed, unregistered, in between Ballina and Brisbane. And I'm fucking waiting the whole time for him to pull me over. He never pulled me over.
Wow.
It was weird. Fucking talk about, it was one of the most ballsiest things I've ever done, because it was this constant 15 hours of fucking heart going all the time. Every time you seen a cop, fucking hell. And so I come up here to Harvey Bay, and
how is it up? How's life for you now? You seem well. You seem okay.
Life is great now. Yeah,
you're good, mate. You've had a journey.
Yeah. Oh, well, when I come up here, I got onto the alcohol.
Yeah.
I've become a full-blown, and like everything else, I went full hog on it. I become a full-blown alcoholic. I mean, I was drinking from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. Because when I was in Sydney, when all that shit went down, I went to see a mate, and I hadn't drank for many years. And he gave me a beer, and then he gave me another beer. And it was the first time my brain had stopped thinking about what had just happened to Donna. So I used, and so every time I save it up, I start thinking about it again. So I turned to the grog.
Yeah.
And then, I nearly drank myself to death, Dean. And ended up, because they're having hepatitis C as well from the drug days. The liver went real good anyway. And I was that fucking sick. I ended up in hospital up here for 33 days. Basically sent home to die. And I thought I was dying too. Honestly thought I was dying. I was in hospital for 33 days thinking that this is it. Finally, I've killed myself. I fucking drank myself to death. And that was 10 years ago. And I managed to somehow get out of that. I went to see my doctor, and he was just, he went, what the fuck? What have you done to yourself? And he said to me too, he said, Gary, he said, do you want to live or do you want to die? And I said, I want to live, mate. From that moment on, just that one comment made me push on and live. It took me a couple of years to get physically healthy again, but I managed to get there. So,
have you got any advice for the young fellas or people out there these days, Gaz, if they're running off the tracks a bit on the drugs or the speed or the ice? Anything that you want to pass on with any kind of words of wisdom, mate? Or is it just it's a luck of the draw, eh? Or
I reckon, it's a luck of the draw, and you know yourself, Dean, if you would have went back and spoke to your younger self, you would have talked, you would have said to your older self, go get fucked, mate. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, they're going to have to learn by themselves. And up here, we've got a bit of a drug problem up here. They kind of, I call it Mount Druitt by the sea. So,
Oh,
It's a lovely place, you know, you just Mount Druitt by the sea. But yeah, no, drugs are pretty prevalent up here, and a lot of young, because it's not much for the young people to do up here, you know.
but do you think you'd go back to it, Gary? Do you think you're finished with addiction?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. No, it's.
How come you're finished with it?
I don't know. I think you just reach a point in your life where you're just over it. It's just, it's you're more happier to. Well, I go to the club a lot. We've got a local club down here, the RSL.
Yeah.
Hello to the boys that are there. And a good bunch of blokes.
Do you still have a beer or?
No. I've had a couple of beers, 1 or 2, 3 or 4 here and there, but never. No, I've completely accepted. And they even say, "I said, what do you?" I remember one bloke saying to me, he said, "You come down here nearly every day, and all you do is drink water."
Yeah.
I said, "What do you come
I'm
here
like
for?"
you. I do the same thing.
And I say, "Well,
I'm done." Yeah.
Yeah. I said, "Well, I've got no mates to go to church. This is where my mates are, you know." Now I have to go up all the time. I go, "Look at you never spend a single cent in this club, you know." Because I'd come out with a glass of water and go, "Whoa, fuck, how they make this so cheap? Jesus."
Well, Gaz, it's been a pleasure, brother, having a talk to you, mate.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Dean. Yeah, no, it's a great pleasure, mate. But yeah, that's our advice is that don't do it in the first place. Always remember that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and you just got to focus on that light, because if you don't focus on that light, you're never going to get out of that tunnel. You know, you got to have something to reach for.
And maybe looking back in retrospect on your life, maybe if you could have identified at that point in stage where you were using because you had problems, deal with the problems if possible.
Yes.
Instead of getting to that point where you got lost through that.
Yeah.
So if you know that you're taking drugs because you're hurt or you're scared or you got problems or you're in pain, try and deal with that before you go.
Yes. If you don't deal with the problem and you try to put a Band-Aid on it with drugs, you just create more problems that you're going to put a Band-Aid on, and it just is.
You can never deal with it.
You never finish it, because you're just going in a circle, and you just never stray away from that stupidity. But
so maybe that there's a bit of advice there, Gary, if you can pick it up there, you know.
Yeah. Just find out what your problem is. Being an alcoholic father.
Yeah.
Being an abusive,
scared, fearful,
frightened, fearful.
Yeah.
Deal with that. Why are you frightened? Why are you scared?
Not liking yourself.
Yeah, not like, geez, I've done that. I'm only just starting to like myself now.
Good on you.
Years, do you know what I mean?
I can relate. Yeah.
Because you get dirty on yourself when you especially on drugs. You get, and you're told by the screws and the coppers and that you're no good, and you start believing the shit. You start believing it,
and we don't become proud of what we do, Gary, when we're like that.
No. This is like one of the first times I've been able to talk about these things, because you don't want to go brag. It sounds like you're bragging on that. You can't really talk about heroin addiction and prison to somebody that hasn't been a heroin addict and been to jail. But when you're talking to someone like yourself, I'm communicating with someone I know.
Exactly, mate.
And that was one of the easiest things about being in jail. When you're in jail too, the people in there, they're the blokes that you would normally hang around anyway. They're the blokes you'd be knocking with on the outside. So it was quite easy to join in and relate to whatever was going on. But it's good now.
That's good.
It's a long journey from age 15 being addicted to cough medicine to being becoming a fucking full-blown alcoholic. On top of it's like I had to throw that in at the end or somehow, you know.
Well, mate, it's good to hear you're happy, and it's good to hear you're content, my friend.
Yeah, but you've been in Queensland too. I still remember when I first come up here, when you're saying, I first come up here, I come up here in daylight saving time. And I'll tell you, it was a bloody culture shock when I first come in Harvey Bay being regional. It was a culture shock. Like, everyone seems to be walking that slow, isn't funny. I remember I come up here when I first come in, I had to turn my clock back 1 hour. I figured I better turn my clock back 1 hour and 50 years. That's how. I was watching the news, the very first news. It was local news, and major story was cattle rustling.
Yeah.
I remember, what the fuck, cattle rustling? What the fuck? I'm back in the Wild West or something.
Yeah.
But
back in your days, mate, you turned the TV on, it'd be armed robberies, you know.
Yeah. And you knew half of them.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, you take care, right?
Yeah, you too, Dean. And thanks for the interview, mate.
No problem. Yeah, good having a yarn with you.
Yeah, you look a happy bloke, mate.
I'm always happy. I've got a lot to be happy for.
Yeah, but I always had the smile on the face. I never know knock the smile off, you know. So I think that's a big thing about going forward as well.
Yeah,
being happy.
For sure.
Being happy with yourself.
For sure.
But all right, Dean.
All right, mate. You look after yourself.
All right, mate. Love you, brother.
Love you too, bro.